I want to bring in Jeffrey Schwartz, a former judge who is now a professor at the Cooley Law School outside Tampa. I thank you for being with us. Just your thoughts today on what has been going on in the courtroom, from the AT&T specialist to talk to you about chips to now Longstreet going over some of the different exchanges and text messages and tweets and TikToks.
I'm kind of at a loss. I understand that at this point and throughout this trial, the defense has refused to stipulate to the entrance of records like these. This is, in most cases, the kind of evidence that a judge could get both sides to stipulate to, although I think that Marchant is not sticking his nose into this. It's very obvious, as we've seen, as with other things that have happened in this trial, that Mr. Trump's had a substantial effect on his lawyers and what they do and what they can and cannot do. And I think this is just satisfying Mr. Trump that you are not giving in to anything, you are not agreeing to anything, and this is the way I want it to be.
Scott, we're just hearing from Jeffrey about Marchant and what he's been able to do. There had been a lot of talk about the gag order, the partial gag order and everything. I know that you have a very kind of important thought on that.
So, yeah, I have been very impressed, once removed, with how Judge Marchant is handling this case, and especially the contempt hearings. And I think it's important to keep in mind that he's really got two objectives. And I say this having gone back through his orders and his statements. You know, one is to make sure that this jury is protected in terms of its safety foremost. You have the statements being read yesterday that my motto is to get even, right? And so you don't want them actually being in physical peril. But one thing that we have to keep in mind, and I was really struck because Marchant talks constantly about, I have a job to do, and part of that job is to maintain the legitimacy and the integrity of the judicial system. And at one point he says one of Trump's violations was a direct attack on the rule of law. And we depend, Jose, in many ways on public confidence in the criminal justice system and in juries. And we've already seen the Supreme Court. I think its stature has diminished greatly as it's been seen as politicized. We get the constant attacks on the prosecutors and other judges. But I really think that jurors are something different, and that Marchant gets this because they are simply answering a summons. This is the civic duty that, at least I was raised to think, this is part of what you do as a U.S. citizen.
And in so many ways, it's almost unique to the United States system of the rule of law. I mean, I know there are other countries that have juries, but not to this degree and to this level.
And it goes all the way back to our founding, de Tocqueville, right?
Yes.
Heralded the American jury as an example of true democracy, right? That we are grabbing 12 people off the streets. Now, can juries get it wrong? That's a whole long conversation. The answer is clearly yes, and we can improve the jury system. But what really alarms me is the statements that Trump and those who amplify him have made, that this is a corrupt jury, that these are not jurors who are coming in and in good faith listening to the evidence and will listen to each other. And I'll tell you, my experience has been that jurors take their oath very seriously. And what I really fear is that we've already diminished so many other institutions that, whatever, if Donald Trump is convicted, there's going to be 40% of the population that's going to be saying, oh, it was a corrupt jury. It was a rigged jury. They didn't really listen to the evidence. And I think once we start tearing down juries, we're really going down a slippery slope.